Hey, welcome to the
Doceree Dialogues,
a platform that unites industry leaders.
Come together and exchange ideas, innovation, and insights.
shaping the future of healthcare marketing.
John, so good to see you. And here, welcome to Doceree Dialogues podcast at Fierce Pharma Week 2025. We're super excited to have you on our first podcast here.
Honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, so it's great. So John, before, I know you so well, but, for our audience, maybe it'll be great to do an intro first.
Sure.
So you want to just talk a little bit about your background in healthcare and just what your role is at DAW and just in general, right? Like a little bit about your journey, right? Let's start there.
Now I'm at DAW Systems, which is another electronic prescribing platform, as the chief revenue officer. And again, back on the prescribing side, but also have all this knowledge of having worked at a pharmacy, having worked closely with Pharma, how they think about the world, and sort of bring that all together around this one patient event that's just really important.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know you from the Doceree days, and you're an expert in everything on the pharmacy side and now on the POC side as well. So you're my go-to when I need any kind of knowledge depth on the healthcare side. So it's great. Just kind of building on that. So when you look at electronic prescription platforms and even like POC platforms, since you kind of have a good background in both those, what do you think is the biggest pain points that you're working to solve at this point?
Yeah, it's really, really interesting to think about. From our perspective, what we need to do is make sure, and we again have just one little piece of the journey. We're dealing with the prescribing piece of it. We are making sure that we're able to prescribe in a compliant way and that we're available all the time for physicians anywhere they need to be. If they're in the office, if they're on the road, if they're at home, we need to make sure that they have the ability to get a prescription to a patient that's in need absolutely anywhere, because that's what's expected in the world, and to do that with the utmost efficiency. So no double entry of data, no desynchronous events that don't help the prescriber get more efficient. We want people to prescribe quickly and easily. We don't want them to have to think about it.
Yeah, got it. And how is it like, compared to like other competitors out there and stuff on the ePrescribe side? I know there are a couple of players. How is DAW kind of differentiated?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think first and foremost for us, if you look at a lot of the other technology platforms out there that do what we do, it's one of many things that they do. For DAW, our flagship and only product is the Scripture Cloud ERX platform. And that means it gets all of our time and attention and focus. And that comes through. You can see that we win industry awards every year for it. We've won the White Coat of Excellence Award 12 years in a row,
right,
from SureScripts. So that's a big part of why we are different. We also take the time to really work with our physicians and understand what they're trying to do. We get a lot of feedback around compounding. For example, compounding GLP-1s is a very big deal right now. A lot of GLP-1 activity, but compounding is also very complex. So if you don't have the right tool in place to help you do that, it can be a very frustrating process.
Got it. Oh, that's awesome. That's great that you guys are focused on solving the provider experience when it comes to ePrescribe, such an important area. So innovation, that's such a key thing, especially when it comes to like AI and stuff like that. But we'll get to AI in a bit. But in general, from a New York perspective, what are some of the most impressive kind of developments that you've seen so far in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we could do a whole session on AI. I just think the interoperability of patient data. If you roll the clock back 10 years, it was so hard. Even with HIPAA, it was so hard to get medical records from one spot to another. I think with interconnected platforms and cloud technology over the last decade or so, it's become so much easier. I mean, everyone just expects it now. That you're going to have an API and you're going to be able to plug in data and exchange things back and forth, and so everything's going to be seamless. To the end user consumer of that technology, service, data, whatever it is. And that's something that, again, if you roll the clock back, a decade, that was not a given.
Yeah.
It could have been a very painful process and sort of hook things up and, sort of do a manual sort of custom integration. And now that stuff's all gone.
Yeah.
It's all, here's my API, connect to it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a standard. That's how they do things. Very, very interesting.
Much more streamlined.
Absolutely.
100%. What about the gaps? What are you seeing? Are still things that need to be addressed, move the industry forward?
Yeah, I think one thing that needs to be addressed, and this kind of is tangentially related to AI, is how do humans, practitioners, and just people in the space like you and I, how do we work alongside AI in a way that allows us to think first?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I see a lot of people. The first thing they do is run to Chat GPT and throw in the question, and it says. And it's so interesting, and it's so tempting to do that.
Yeah.
But I think we really, need to talk about more of, kind of focus on it. How do we interact? You have to think first.
Yep.
And if you need AI's help for some modeling or something like that, that's a bit different. But I think the ability for you as a human to think first and think on your feet is really important. And we have to make sure that we keep that as we kind of go through this AI journey.
Yeah. Are you guys doing anything on the AI front at DAW?
Yeah, we are. We're doing a lot. We have several projects spun up on the AI front. And it's really, it almost seems like mundane.
Yeah.
But the ability, again, going back to the efficiency and the user experience, taking that to the next level, one thing that's always been sort of difficult for us and for all the prescribers in the space because of the way the data is structured is how to search for a pharmacy, right? So we're using AI to sort of guide that process and be able to say, hey, I think this person really wants this pharmacy, so I'm going to surface that result more quickly to give them a better experience rather than having them get frustrated because that pharmacy's name actually has an apostrophe or a comma or something like that in it. We're using AI to kind of look at all that stuff and see how we can, inform the user experience in a way that seems mundane. But, you hear the term death by 1,000 cuts. Or we're taking all 1,000 of those cuts away, which previously was not possible without AI.
Yeah, I can totally see that, especially now with the direct-to-consumer kind of like pharmacy services, right?
Of course, yeah.
All manufacturers. Are you seeing that also starting to pick up quite a bit?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. Actually, when I worked in the pharmacy space, we were a bit early on that. We tried to launch this sort of boutique platform for direct-to-pharmacy. So we were a little early on that. Lilly kind of figured it out. And now I think that's a model. That's a model that's been tested and it works. It's great for patients, because it cuts out a lot of the supply chain and a lot of there's a lot of people, a lot of organizations with their hand out, PBMs and more with their hand out in the traditional model, but having that direct to pharmacy that's manufacturer sponsored that cuts out a lot of the noise. And if you just need that drug, your provider has decided that you need whatever drug is by that pharmacy, just get it direct from the manufacturer.
Because I feel like, from an adherence standpoint, like it's shocking because I was talking to so many folks here at the conference, and still a lot of folks are like, the prescription is written, but still the patient is not fulfilling it. They're not going and getting their prescriptions, right? And I actually think one key element is also just this thing about like going and picking it up. It's just, it's like very close, but sometimes even I tend to fall prey to that. I'm like, sure, I'm going to put it off next week. Another week goes by. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I need to get my refill now, right?
Yeah, well, I think there's kind of two categories there, right? If it's acute, like if I have a cold, or cough, or my kid has an ear infection or something like that, you're probably going to go get that medication. But if it's not acute, like maybe it's your GLP-1 or your statin for your blood pressure. These are things that you can walk around; they don't bother you.
Exactly.
And there's a high likelihood that you're not going to pick those things up. Your migraine medication, right? That if you don't have a migraine right now, probably not going to pick up, your migraine medication.
Very good. No, it totally makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about pharma marketing, and how do you see that influencing the ePrescribe space? And talk a little bit also about our partnership, right? You've been at Docker and now in DAW, and how all that shaped up, how it's helped grow your business as a whole.
Yeah, it's been really, really important. I think pharma marketing in the health tech space is changing. It's changing from a strategy that some employ to just a must have for a couple of reasons. One, because there's better technologists like Docker in the space that help you, work with your audience in a way that was previously not possible. I think, as marketers, we look at who do I want to target? Who do I want to get? Who do I want to get my message to?
Yeah.
Right. And very, very seldomly do you hear, how will this person receive the message that I'm going to send? And as a platform provider, I always have to be worried about how that person will receive that message. Do they find it intrusive? Do they find it annoying?
Yeah.
Is it, because at the end of the day, it's a clinical platform.
Yeah.
So choosing your partner wisely for this is extremely important for clinical platforms. Somebody who has the technology, the capabilities to be able to target appropriately.
Yep.
And not just run, contextual advertising or something like that that's irrelevant to the provider.
Yeah.
That provider has to be glad that they saw that promotion. And if they aren't, they're going to complain about it. And, you may have to address that platform. So I think, again, going back to the key point here is that having a partner like Docker, it enables you to engage in this space because it's additive. It provides value to the provider versus, hey, maybe this is just a ancillary revenue stream for me, and where I can make a quick buck here.
Yeah,
provides value to the provider, provides value to pharma, and it provides value to me, to the platform. So I think that's kind of I would summarize the relationship.
got it.
Our relationship with Docker has been really tight from the beginning. It's been a game changer for us.
Yeah,
from a revenue standpoint and from a differentiated value add standpoint. This is something that we sell. This is something when we talk to platforms, we say, hey, look, we have this promotional channel. We're going to inform your doctors on, what new drugs are out there, other therapies they might consider, new indications for existing drugs they may not know about. These are all things that they have to figure out one way or another. But this is a brand new channel for them to do that. And that's a value add that we're bringing to our EAs.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's great. What about like the onboarding experience and also like from a programmatic perspective, right? Like what's that been like where we just run the campaigns, messages, set it and forget it? Tell me a little bit about how that experience has been working with Docker.
Yeah, I think you said it. It's set it and forget it. As a platform partner. So the thing that a lot of folks don't understand about the ad space is to get into this space without a company like Docker and the technology that they bring to the table, you have to go out and get an ad server. You have to configure that ad server. Then you have to hook it up to DSPs, and you can either hire a consultant to do that and then pay them on an ongoing basis. And it's going to be a lot of work for you. Or you could plug into Docker. So just one little tiny snippet code on page. My IT team spun it up in, I think like 15 minutes. They just plugged it in. They goofed around with it a little bit to get it right and make sure that it looked nice and that the placement is correct and that everything is reading properly. But, that's all we did. And then we just look at our dashboard and see where we're at for the month, where we're at for the week, our impressions coming in. That's literally all we have to do with a company like Docker, who has been thoughtful about how they approach the billing care space. I feel like other companies, other advertising, DSPs who want to try to get in this space, they don't understand that they're not working with an endemic publisher. We don't have our own ad tech team.
Exactly.
They're not going to have them. It's just not what we do. So you have to go that extra mile, bridge that gap. And no one else has done that like doctors.
You're just getting introduced to advertising through us for the first time.
Right.
That's great. That's phenomenal. To close it out, if you were to, have a crystal ball to kind of look at the future and, predict what are some of the biggest kind of like bold predictions that you have for the next like 2 years time frame, right, in healthcare?
The next 2 years, I think direct to patient advertising on linear television will be gone or leaving.
Yeah.
Which is a bold statement because that's a $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
I think that will become under fire very soon.
Yeah.
And if you're a marketer and you move that channel, you should be thinking about alternative strategies like HCP marketing and other channels to support the goals that you have for adoption, script lift, whatever it might be. You really need to think about it now because it's going to take, 18 months, 2 years to spin up. That's number one. Number two, I think AI will take over the world.
Yeah. But still we need humans.
But still we need humans for a few things. But I think AI is just the way that it's exploding.
Yeah.
And the way that, very clever humans are employing it. It really is just a total game changer. All the things that you thought were impossible 5-6 years ago, they're probably possible.
Yeah. That's great. John, this is amazing. Thank you so much for all the insights. Thank you so much for joining our podcast. Really appreciate it. And look forward to having many more of these in the future with you.
Happy to be here and glad to be part of it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.